Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, whether it be again or for the first time. We're really, really happy that you're here. I'm Michelle from Consolidated Planning Group, Michelle Morris. Just a few kind of housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar is being recorded. We record all of our webinars and we put them on our YouTube channel. So I will give you a link to the YouTube channel by the end of this webinar. I'm really happy that you're here. I can't see you or hear you, but I do know that you're here because of the number of participants in the count down there. So I know you're out there. So if you have any questions or comments as we're going through the slides, please put your comments and questions in the chat box. That's the easiest way for me to be able to present and see what you have to say, kind of all at the same time. I'll get to as many questions as I possibly can. However, if I miss any of your questions, please rest assured that we offer a free consultation, and you're welcome to sign up for your free consultation and ask us as many questions as you would like. So don't worry about that if I miss your question here today. The other thing that I want to let you know is that after this webinar is finished, we will email you a link to the recording as well as the slides. So if there's anything clickable in the slides, or if you missed some information, no worries, because you're going to get it in your email later today. I certainly hope that you registered with your correct email address so that you can receive the slides. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on our podcast and you would like a copy of the slides, you can just go ahead and email us contact@cpgcares.net, or you can email me directly, mmorris@cpgcares.net. And all of that contact information is in the chat box for you. All right, so who are we? Why should you be listening to Consolidated Planning Group anyway? We are a financial advising firm. We call ourselves a holistic firm because we really look at all areas of your financial picture. We try to be a one-stop shop for our clients because we know that you are in the thick of it and you've got so much to deal with. So we try to make things easier for you on the financial side of the house. Now, we are an independent firm based just outside of Houston in the Sugar Land area, but we serve families all across the United States and all across Texas, of course. We have over 30 years of experience in securities and insurance, the financial world. We have received honors like the $1 million round table, top of the table. We are also members of the Special Needs Planning Academy, and we're National Social Security advisors. So we really take this seriously. And the reason that we focus so much on helping families with an individual who has some kind of intellectual or developmental disability, the reason we do that is because the owners of our company have two children with disabilities. And so that's why we turned our entire focus to helping families like yours. We know that it is complicated and confusing, and that there are very, very few financial advising firms out there who really focus on helping families like yours. This is not just something that we can do or something that we do once in a while. This is our entire firm. We live, sleep, and eat helping special needs situations. So we help you think about things like protection plans for your family. What if the main breadwinner passes away early or becomes disabled and can't work anymore? We can help you think through those situations. We help you think about lifetime care planning for your loved one. Are they going to need care for the rest of their life? Are they going to need a residential community? Are they ever going to be able to work? We help you think through those situations and make sure that they are set up for success. We do a lot of help with transition planning. There are three main transition periods. When your child turns 18 and all of a sudden they are an adult in the eyes of the law, there's a big transition that happens there. Um, and you need to understand the rules and regulations because now they're an adult. So you need to make sure everything is in place. There's the transition of graduation from high school. And now they're in the real world, and what happens then? And then later on, there's the transition from being in your household, having mom or dad or a relative taking care of them, into moving to a residential community or wherever they're going to live out the rest of their lives once you pass away. So there's a lot to think about concerning their transition. We're going to talk about a lot of that today, of course. We help with ABLE accounts. We are here to advocate for you and to help educate you, because out of all of the financial advisors across the United States, and there's about 263,000 financial advisors out there. Out of all those 263,000, fewer than 200 of them focus on special needs planning. That's less than 0.1% of all the financial advisors in the United States who really understand the nuances involved with planning for children with disabilities. So you are truly in the right place when you work with us or when you're here listening to these webinars. So let's talk about, first steps. You might be just getting started on this journey. The first thing that we would advise that you do is create a letter of intent. We're going to get into what that is on the next slide, but that should be your first, it's easy, it's inexpensive, and it's just something that you put together. It does not have to be notarized or checked over by an attorney or anything like that. So we're going to talk about the letter of intent. We think it's very, very important that you have a special needs focused financial advisor and a special needs attorney working with you and helping be on your team and giving you support, because you really need experts in the field. You're going to end up spending money to get all of this stuff set up, whether you use a professional who is an expert or a professional who might not know all of the rules and regulations. If you use somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, you're going to end up spending even more money to then go back and fix what they set up for you. It's much easier and more cost effective just to do things right from the beginning with experts in the field. We want you to gather together all of the planning documents before you get started with financial planning or any kind of planning for the future. And what we're talking about there is things like, what do you already have in place, both financially and legally, that are going to be there for your future and for your loved ones? Do you have a will, special needs trust, retirement accounts, savings accounts, life insurance? Get all of those things together so that you can kind of have an overview of where you are before we try to tell you how to get to where you're going. Just like a GPS, you need to know where you are, or the GPS or Google Maps or whatever it may be needs to know where you are and able to help you get to where you're going. And we're the same way. So think about your vision of the future and what that looks like for both you and your child. What do you hope that their future is going to be like? So when you're putting together a letter of intent, this list is some of the things that you can put in this letter. Really, it's called a letter of intent, but really what it is you are setting forth all of the information that you would want somebody to know if they had to step in and take care of your child. Right now, you know more about your child than anybody else on this earth. And so what we're asking you to do is write down all of that information, get it out of your head and onto paper, so that if you were to be gone, somebody can step in and quickly look at this letter of intent and have some sort of understanding of your family and your loved one and what they need to do to help them. So I used to be an English teacher. So what I would say from the English teacher point of view is to start this letter of intent on your laptop or computer or whatever. Um, Start with the facts. It is very easy to think of all the facts of your child. What's their name? When were they born? Where were they born? Who are their doctors? Who are their siblings? Um, what's their medical history? Start there. Start with the facts. What benefits are they currently receiving? Um, what are their current living arrangements? Where do they go to school? And then those topics are going to naturally lead you down the path of what their preferences are, what their personality is like, what habits do they have, what are their favorite hobbies or recreational activities, what kind of values and spirituality do you want for your loved one. Again, this is not a legal document necessarily. It's just for somebody to be able to help understand what your child needs. What are their abilities? What are their strengths? What are their routines and interests and particular likes and dislikes? This would be a great place for people to say things like, well, my son really, really loves spaghetti. If he's having a bad day, all you would have to do is cook spaghetti for him, and that would cheer him right up. Or just the opposite. You could say in your letter of intent, my son absolutely hates spaghetti. And it might be strange, but if you cook spaghetti for him, it might end up all over your kitchen walls because that is a no-go. Anything like that that are just things about your child, just little quirks that they have, just things that you want for them, put it in this letter of intent. Start it on your laptop, like I said. Start with the facts and then go into the more personal issues, and then print. Print whatever current version you're working on and put that somewhere where someone will be able to find it just in case you're not around. Um, so keep it where someone can find it. Then as your family grows and evolves, you get back in there and change some stuff up, revise your letter of intent, print the newest version and put it wherever. Maybe you have a binder for your loved one, or you just want to have it on your desk or something. You do not want this to be hidden behind a password where nobody can get to it, right? Um, so again, that is the letter of intent. No questions? Okay, let's go on. The next thing that people often worry the most about is, how am I going to fund all the care that my child needs? Perhaps your child is going to live in a residential community like a Brookwood or a 29 acres or something like that. They can be quite expensive. Maybe your child won't be able to work or be able to take care of themselves. That care, really, you need to prepare for that. So there are some really good ways to help make sure your child's care will be funded and make sure that they get and keep the benefits that they deserve. First of all, you have to make sure that you keep their eligibility for those state and federally funded programs like SSI, SSDI, Medicaid, Medicare, the state waiver programs. We want you to establish a special needs trust where you can put money in there for their future care. That needs an attorney. You do have to have an attorney set up the special needs trust for you. And your life insurance, your current assets, all of that stuff can transfer right into the special needs trust, much of it tax-free. And then you'll know, if you have a certain amount of money set aside in your special needs trust, you think about inflation and you think about the future cost of care, we can help you figure out what that needs to be, to where if you put it in their trust and it's there when you pass away, you can rest assured that your child will have enough money sitting in that special needs trust to be taken care of. And the special needs trust does not count against them in terms of SSI or Medicaid or Medicare or any other benefits. So it's a great place to save money for your loved one's future. The other place that your loved one can have money is in an ABLE account. We're going to get deep into the ABLE account in a minute, so I'm not going to talk too much about that right now. But just, it's really important that you maintain their eligibility for those benefits like SSI. So you can apply for SSI at any time, really, but most people will not qualify for SSI until the individual turns 18. The reason is that before your child's 18th birthday, they're going to look at mom and dad's income and assets. They have very low income and asset limits because this benefit is meant to help people who cannot work for themselves, or they're indigent. They don't have money. So when they look at the parents' income and assets, of course, you're over the limits. But when your child turns 18, all of a sudden they disregard the parents' income and assets, and they're only looking at the child. So as long as your child does not have more than $2,000 in a bank account or life insurance policy with a cash value or something like an IRA, as long as they don't have over $2,000, they should be good. And as long as they're not working, making too much money, then they should be able to get their benefits. What you're going to do is you're going to apply online for SSI benefits. The website is there. And again, when you receive these slides later on, that should be a clickable link. Please, 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 if it's not, or any of my links don't work, go ahead and email me and I will get those fixed. When you start your application online, it's going to save the date. And even if it takes them 4 or 6 or 12 months or longer to get you your benefits, they will backdate to the day that you started the application process, as long as it is after your child's 18th birthday. When you're filling this out, you're going to want to know your child's primary care physician name and address and contact info. You're going to want to know their diagnosis history and medications. If they are working, they're going to want to see pay stubs, and they're going to want to see your child's bank account if they have a bank account. So we say, we're a little extra. We say, go ahead and check with your child's doctor and see what is in those medical records before you even start filling out your SSI application. That way you can make sure that everything that you're telling the Social Security Administration is in there, so that your child will get the maximum benefit. Now, what is SSI? It stands for Supplemental Security Income. And this is a payment from the government. The maximum amount for 2024 is $943 per month. So if your child is on SSI and they're not getting $943 a month, you can contact us and we can help you understand why, if you're unsure why your child is not getting the full amount. SSI also comes with Medicaid. So when your child goes on SSI, they will also be able to receive Medicaid benefits. So when you're applying for SSI, first of all, yes, a decision could take up to a year and sometimes even longer. One thing that they don't tell you, and most people don't know this, is that when you're filling out your application for SSI benefits, sometimes they fill out an application for SSDI at the same time. SSDI is the benefit that your child should get later in life when you turn on your Social Security retirement benefits. This is a totally different benefit from what we're talking about. And it is okay, because your child probably should not qualify for SSDI unless you are getting your Social Security retirement because maybe you've turned on your retirement benefits, or you are disabled, or a parent has passed away. In those situations, yes, your child might be getting SSDI. So if you get a rejection letter, be very careful to look at the top of the page and see, is that SSI or SSDI that you're rejecting for your child? After your local Social Security office has your file put together to apply for SSI, they're going to send your entire file to Austin to the Disability Determination Services office. We've included the phone number here for the one in Austin. This is true in all states, not just Texas, but each state has its own Disability Determination Services office. And you can call them. They'll answer the phone and let you know if they've received your file, who is working on it, if there's anything missing, things like that. I see a couple questions in the chat box, so let me go ahead and grab these before we move on. First of all, my nephew is currently 15 and receives SSI. Will he need to reapply at 18 to continue receiving it? Will I automatically get a renewal application for continuation? So, we're dealing with the government here, and there are many things that are supposed to automatically happen, but you want to keep your eye on it because sometimes it doesn't. If your child is receiving SSI benefits under the age of 18, they very well could stop your benefits at age 18 and say, okay, now you have to reapply as an adult. The same thing happens if a parent passes away when the child is a minor and they're receiving SSDI benefits because the parent has passed away. You receive those benefits as a minor, and then they stop the benefits when the child turns 18, and you have to reapply as a child with a disability or an adult with a disability who still deserves those benefits. The second question here says, should we apply for both at the same time, the SSI and SSDI? Again, you will only qualify for SSDI if a parent has turned on their Social Security retirement benefits, or if the parent is receiving those benefits because they're disabled, or if a parent has passed away already. Okay. Again, SSDI. This is the SSDI. This is what your disabled child will be able to draw from their parent's record. This is based on the parent's work record. So let's say the parent turns on their Social Security and they're getting $4,000 a month from Social Security because of their work history. The child can receive benefits. They will receive half of the amount of the parent's benefits. Now, it does not take away from what the parent gets. So you would still get your $4,000 a month and your child would get $2,000 a month. It also, if you turn on your Social Security benefits while your child is a minor, they would get those benefits, okay? 24 months after turning on SSDI benefits, your child will be eligible for Medicare after age 18. So if they're on it as a minor, they won't get their Medicare until they're on SSDI beyond age 18 for 2 years. In an ideal world, you're going to turn on SSI at age 18 and get Medicaid locked in. And then after the child has Medicaid locked in, then you apply for SSDI. And 2 years later, your child will have Medicare as well. And they'll be dual eligible for both Medicaid and Medicare. When that parent or one of the parents passes away, the child's benefit will go from half, 50%, up to 75%. And they will receive that benefit for the rest of their life. It is based on the parent's full retirement age. It will not go up if the parent waits to turn on their Social Security. It's always going to be whatever the full retirement age is, okay? And there are family maximums. If you have a spouse who is not working, who is drawing benefits, and you have a child drawing benefits, that's pretty much the limit. If you have a spouse and 2 children, you're going to get pretty close to that family maximum amount. And don't ask me, what is the family maximum? I'm really not sure. We've heard it's about 180% of the one parent's amount, but they change the rules so often at the Social Security office where we can help you figure it out on a case-by-case basis. So it's really important that you get these benefits, as I said, because these are going to be with your child will receive these benefits for the rest of their life. So this is the baseline income for your child going forward once you turn on their SSI and then later their SSDI benefits. You want to make sure that the money is in the right buckets so that they don't lose any of those benefits. Remember the special needs trust, the ABLE account. You don't want any money to go directly to your child because all of a sudden they're going to have way too much money to be able to qualify for those benefits. So you need to make sure that you are leaving money to the special needs trust for the benefit of your child, not directly to your child. And if you have any well-meaning family members or friends or anybody who might want to leave your loved one money, it has to be left to the trust. Set that up ahead of time. It's way easier than going back and fixing that situation. Okay, so let grandma and grandpa know, let any aunts and uncles know um, that it has to go to a third-party trust for the benefit of your child. There's another question in the chat about Social Security SSI and SSDI benefits. So I want to hit on that before we get too far from that topic. And the question says, if the parents are divorced, whose Social Security account will the child pull their benefits from? That is a great question. So your child can be under mom or dad biological or step parents, or if grandparents adopt the child. It can be first, who turns on that benefit first? If mom turns on the benefit, then the child can go under mom's. And then let's say later on, dad turns on his benefit and it's more than what mom's is, your child can switch over. Your child can follow whoever turns it on first, and then whoever has the most benefit. We do at Consolidated Planning Group something called a Social Security maximization, where we look at exactly when you should turn on your benefits and which benefits your child should follow so that you and your family, and especially your child, get the most benefit that you possibly can. Some people think it's best to just wait until you're 70, but because of all those additional sources of funding, it might be more beneficial to turn your Social Security on even before your full retirement age. And it seems counterproductive, but it's true. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that you need an attorney for when it comes to transition planning. That would be the special needs trust, guardianship, your will, things of that nature. Now, at Consolidated Planning Group, we are financial advisors. We are not attorneys, but we do keep a list of attorneys who focus on special needs topics, just like we are financial advisors who focus on helping special needs families. We keep a list for our clients. So we do refer all of our clients to the attorneys who are close to them and able to help with these situations. So the Special Needs Trust is going to help preserve those benefits. Guardianship. Now, guardianship is a process by where the court says that your child is going to basically, even though they are of legal age, they're going to keep status as a minor for the term of the guardianship. So your child will not have the legal benefits or ramifications of being an adult under the eyes of the law if you go through guardianship. That process can begin about 6 months before your child turns 18. If you would like to do it at that point. It's not required. It's not right for everybody. You do need an attorney to do it. You do have to go in front of a judge and be served papers and all of that. It basically takes away their right to sign contracts, purchase homes, get married, drive, all of those kinds of things, because your child is going to be a minor and you are going to be their parent or guardian. Work with a qualified attorney to do these things, please. Even if your neighbor is a real estate attorney and they say they're going to do it for free for you, no, you want an attorney who knows what they're doing. Okay, I don't see any more questions or comments right now, so I want to go into the ABLE account. Again, this is another place where your child can have money. It will not jeopardize their other benefits. So your child would be the account owner and beneficiary. The ABLE account, the way this works is anybody can put money into the account for your child. The money goes in and it is used to buy mutual funds, at least the one that we use for our clients. There are over 50 different ABLE accounts across the United States. Pretty much each state has their own state-sponsored ABLE account, but you are not typically required to use the ABLE account for your state. So even though you live in Texas, you don't have to use the ABLE account for Texas. You can have your pick of all different ABLE accounts. And they're different. They have different fees, different structures of how they work, how you get your money out, different customer service, different, ways that they take care of your money. You just want to look at all of those different features of the ABLE accounts. But generally, they have some very specific rules and regulations. They are regulated and they do have to have some things that are the same. So basically, you put your money in. The money in the ABLE account goes to purchase mutual funds, or it sits there and it has a very low interest rate. It does gain interest in that account, and then that income is not taxed. So that's one of the benefits of the ABLE account, is that it can grow with untaxed income. The other benefit, of course, is the fact that it doesn't count against them for any of the benefit, their other benefits like SSI and Medicaid. ABLE accounts, another cool thing about them is that it can be used to pay for anything that the child needs. It can be used to pay for financial management, transportation, education and training, food and shelter. You can get cash from your ABLE account. You can use it to pay for mobile devices, legal expenses, anything, and it will not affect the SSI benefits at all. Basically, ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. So as long as you're using this money on your child to help them achieve a better life experience, it's all good. That can be cars, computers, vacations, clothing, food, shelter, really anything your child needs. ABLE accounts are 529 plans. Now, you might have heard of a 529 college savings account. That's a 529C. ABLE is just a different section of that same tax code. The ABLE account is a 529A. So this is only for disabled individuals who have a disability that began before they turned 26 years old. It's not a drawn out application process. You just kind of check a box and initial or sign that you are swearing that your child, her disability started before age 26. Contributions into the account are limited because, of course, the government doesn't want you to put millions of dollars in there and have tax-free growth. But you can put in $18,000 this year. Next year, in 2025, the amount is going to be $19,000. Each year, the amount that you can put into the ABLE account is the same as whatever that year's annual gift tax exclusion is. Okay. Now, the ABLE account companies might tell you that you can put in $500,000, but no, that's not quite right, because if you go above $100,000 in your ABLE account, Social Security will cut off those benefits. So you cannot have more than $100,000. That's the limit. That's where Social Security would say, oh, you have $100,000 in your ABLE account. You don't need our help. And they would not give you their benefits. If your child's working, they can put in a little bit each year, a little bit extra, only up to the amount that they're working, not to exceed the amount of $14,580. Again, it's a non-taxable account. There are no penalties or anything like that as long as you use it for the child with the disability. You can roll it over to another family member as long as they are eligible, meaning they also have a disability. Now, at the end of your child's life, if there is money left in their ABLE account, Medicaid can come back and claim reimbursement. They can only take as much as they have paid to your child in benefits, if it's in there. If there's no money in there, they cannot come back and send you a bill or anything like that, but they can take the money that is left over in the ABLE account. Now, the Special Needs Trust is a little bit different. It kind of has some opposite rules from the ABLE account. Your Special Needs Trust can pay for a lot of stuff. This list is not an exhaustive list of all the things your Special Needs Trust can pay for. And it's not nearly as important, as a matter of fact, it's not nearly as important as this list. The do not use your Special Needs Trust for these things list. If you use the Special Needs Trust to pay for rent, mortgage payments, utilities, real estate taxes, homeowners insurance that your lender requires, or condo fees, if you take money out to use as cash, or if you use it for food, the food part is going away later this year. But anyway, if you use your Special Needs Trust for these items while your child is on SSI, then they're going to cut your SSI amount by 1/3. Okay, so if your child is still on SSI, that means they haven't switched over to SSDI benefits yet, then you should not use your Special Needs Trust to pay for these things. Now, the other thing that's really different about a Special Needs Trust is that you can put an unlimited amount of money in the Special Needs Trust. So there's no worry about that. There's no worry on how much to put in there. There are two kinds of Special Needs Trust, a first party and a third party. First party Special Needs Trust is the child's money. So that would be things like if your child is receiving child support beyond age 18, it needs to go to the first party Special Needs Trust so that SSI does not consider that as income. And the other thing would be like if there's a settlement, if there was some kind of an accident, maybe that caused your child's disability, and they get a settlement payout, that settlement will have to go to the first party Special Needs Trust because that's their money. The first party Special Needs Trust has that same Medicaid reimbursement clause, just like an ABLE account. The third party Special Needs Trust does not have that clause, and that is for things like funds that are left to the Special Needs Trust correctly, like your life insurance and assets and anything else that people leave to the third party Special Needs Trust. The third party trust is the optimal place for things to go, but it doesn't always have to happen in the optimal way, right? So we can fix that by putting it into the first party trust, even though there are some drawbacks. Okay, I still don't see any more questions in the chat box. So let's shift a little bit and talk about the Texas Medicaid waiver programs. Now, again, all states have waiver programs. Some states have no waiting list at all. You can just sign up for the waiver programs and receive the benefits right away. Some states, like Texas, have very long wait list periods for these programs. And some of the programs have longer wait times than others. It just depends. So the waiver programs are designed to help families pay for certain things, waive off certain rules, and be able to receive help. So they can pay for things like medications, therapies, transportation, even housing, things like that, nursing hours, respite care. Those things come from the waiver programs. So the next page is going to list out these different programs and what they stand for and who they serve. But I can just tell you, everyone on this call today should call this first phone number, 877-438-5658. Well, everyone in Texas. This phone number is for 3 waiver programs, MDCP, CLASS, and DBMD. Now, CLASS is a waiver program that almost anybody with any kind of intellectual or developmental disability can get. So everybody should be signing up for CLASS. DBMD and MDCP are more specialized. DBMD stands for deaf, blind, and medically dependent, multiple disabilities. I'm sorry, deaf, blind, and multiple disabilities. So if your child doesn't have all 3 of those conditions, deaf and blind and another disability, they won't qualify. But also because it is more specialized, it has a shorter waiting list. The same goes for MDCP. That's for medically dependent children. If your child is not medically dependent, you won't qualify for that one. Next up, we have HCS, which is Home and Community Services, Texas Home Living, and CFC, or Community First Choice. To receive those benefits, you would go through your LIDA, your Local Intellectual and Developmental Disability Authority, LIDA. You can also go to yourtexasbenefits.com to look up where you are on the waiting list, what waivers you have signed up for, and you can even sign up for waivers on that website. So everybody should also do that. And if you don't know who your local authority is, it's going to be like MHMR, Bluebonnet, Texana, the Harris Center, things like that. Those are your LIDAs. If you don't know who your LIDA is, you can use the link there to find it. You just put in what county you live in, the link at the bottom of the page there, and it will tell you who to contact. Finally, if you have a child who is a young adult who is over 21, they might qualify for the STAR Plus waiver. So that phone number is listed there for you as well. So if your child is over 21, you can get them on the STAR Plus waiver. In my school district, we have many children who are undocumented. What assistance is available to those families? Okay, well, for the Medicaid waiver programs and for SSI and SSDI, generally you do have to have a social security number. That's the minimum. So if the children have a social security number, then they probably would be just fine. They would be eligible to get these benefits, whether they're legal, documented, whatever the correct phrase is there. So as long as they have that in place, they should be good to go. If they do not have a social security number or an I-10 number, they might have some troubles. You would want to contact your LIDA or have them contact the LIDA and see what needs to be done. Thank you for that question. Okay, so again, like I mentioned, this page lists out those different waiver programs, who they serve, what they're used for, etc. So if you have any questions about those, it is right in there for me, and you can let us know later. So we know that one of the biggest questions that keeps you up at night, unable to sleep because you're worried about your child, is who is going to take care of them when you no longer can. It is very important that you're thinking ahead about this question and about making sure that you know what the future looks like. And that's what we've been talking about this whole hour, is thinking about the future for yourself and for your loved one. So what about educational options after high school? You don't necessarily want your child to graduate to the couch to play video games. You want them to graduate and then see what else is out there. So it could be in educational programs. Different colleges all across the country have programs made for students like yours. Trust me on this one. It might seem daunting. It might seem like you just want to think, oh, there's no way my child would ever go to college. But there are programs where maybe they can take just 1 or 2 classes at a time. Maybe they have additional supports or mentorship um, on campus or through Zoom meetings that can coach and guide them. Maybe there's a certificate program or a trade school that would be fitting for them. There's a lot of resources out there. Check around. There's vocational programs. There's the Texas Workforce Commission. There's other programs like that that can help set your children up for success in the workplace. And there are residential programs. Of course, you want to check out all of these different residential options, whether it be a group home or a residential community or something like that. Even if you think, oh, maybe they'll just go with a family member, you want to introduce your children to these options so that it's not a huge shock and they don't feel like, you're doing things behind their backs. You can tour these facilities or communities, and you can make sure that it's a good fit for you and your family, and get on those wait lists if they have a wait list. Finally, we want you to make careful consideration before you just go ahead and say, oh, a sibling is going to take care of my child when they're adults, older sister can take care of little brother, no big deal. Well, when the time comes, older sister might have her own life and career and family and issues and things that she's dealing with. And taking care of her brother might seem like the thing that she wants to do, but it also might seem like an obligation and like a lot of work. And this can go both ways. Little brother can love his sister to death and just think the world of her and love their relationship. But when big sister moves into the role of caregiver, and now big sister is trying to tell me what to do, I might feel some resentment towards her because she's supposed to be my sister and friend, not try to act like mom. So you can see on both sides of that equation, there could be some resentment. So think long and hard before you just assume that a sibling will be the one to step in and take over. Now, we at Consolidated Planning Group, we do these webinars 2-3 times a week, and we are always here to help you remember what you need to do and think in advance about what you need to do for your loved ones. I'm wrapping up, so if you have more questions, now is the perfect time to get any questions into the chat box, or if there was something that you were expecting me to talk about today that I didn't, please put it in the chat box. But we do webinars that cover so many different topics all the time. This could be things like divorce. Unfortunately, divorce is very common in this community. We talk about different benefits. We talk about residential communities and what is available. We talk about guardianship and educational options. Just so much. Check our YouTube channel, and we're happy to help you in any way that you can. This link, when you receive these slides later on today, will take you to all of our upcoming webinars. So you can see, what's on the horizon and get signed up for those. That way you'll have a reminder that the webinar is coming up if you register ahead of time. And you'll also get the slides and the link to the recording, even if you can't come during the live session. This is our team. Again, we are a small individual, independent company. We don't work for one of those really big investment firms. We work for many different big investment firms, and I love that. I also love that all 4 financial advisors have a hand on every single file that we work with. Every client of ours gets 4 minds working for you. We also have a fantastic staff to help take care of our clients. Look at these smiling faces, if you will, and please keep in mind that we will be reaching out to you to see if you would like to schedule your free consultation. Please be kind. A simple no thank you will do. And this QR code will take you to our calendar. If that's not your style, you can call or email our office, or you can call or email me personally, and I will schedule you for your consultation. This is over Zoom. It normally takes between 30 to 45 minutes, and our main goal is to answer your questions. After we answer any questions that you have, we'll go through how we work and what we do and see if you would like to move forward with us. There is no obligation. Now, I'm going to leave this screen up so that you can copy down the information while I go over the rest of these questions. So let's talk first about people who have mild intellectual disabilities. Now, many of those waiver programs are specifically meant for people who have an IQ under 70 or under 75 plus another diagnosis. So if you have an IQ around 75, plus you have autism and ADHD, for example, those things kind of travel together, then you will be able to get a waiver. If your IQ is below 70 and you don't have any other contributing factors, you would still be able to get the waiver. Now, unfortunately, if your IQ is above 75, they might deem you as not being disabled enough to get the waiver programs. If that happens, there are other opportunities and there are other programs that you can apply for here in Texas and across the nation. Just let us know and we'll help you find those things. Is there a list of group home facilities in Texas? There is a list. We keep a list for our clients. Of course, it's hard to know of all of them. Google is our friend, of course. You can Google and look for nearby options. You can contact us and have your free consultation. You can look for some of our webinars. We often do webinars that are panel webinars with many of the different residential communities. Maybe we have some of them come in like 6 or 7 at a time. They'll send a representative to talk to our audience. That's an option too. So there are a lot, I know, and they take different populations. They have different rules about how many people they're willing to take, what diagnoses they're willing to take, if they're willing to use the HCS waiver for payment, or if it's purely private pay. We can do all of that. Unfortunately, we have nobody in our office who speaks Spanish fluently. You are welcome to schedule a consultation with a translator that you can bring, and we're happy to try and go slow for you. Or you can use something like Google Translate or something like that. It'll just be a little bit more trouble, but we're willing to help as much as we can again. Janelle, I think that's a great idea to do an entire webinar focused on mild intellectual disabilities. And the links down here These are clickable links that will take you to our Facebook page, our podcast, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. And then I'm going to go ahead and post my email address and the phone numbers for the office, the email address for the office, and our website right there in the chat box. So now everybody should have everything that they need. You can reach out to me directly. I'll go ahead and put my phone number, 281-407-4087. If you want me to schedule your free consultation for you. This link in the chat box, unfortunately, is not clickable, but it is just go to consolidatedplanninggroup.com on your browser. Okay, I hope you all have a great day. If there is anything else we can help you with, we are definitely here. Give me a call or reach out to us. I hope you've gotten some helpful information in this webinar and that you enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here.